Is hyperinflation coming? It is believed that the course of the superpowers in the world is going to take a 180-degree angle turn. Hyperinflation is going to the United States of America, and the damage it is going to do won't be easy to control. However, one might think, how is hyperinflation even a possibility in an economically developed country? Welcome to Easy Economy, a channel where we discuss policies, countries, and decisions on objective topics. In this video, we will be discussing the possibility of hyperinflation coming to the United States of America. We will discuss points that might lead to hyperinflation. By the end of this video, you'll be able to understand for yourself whether hyperinflation is just around the corner or is it a distant nightmare. So before further ado, let's dive right into the video. In order to fully understand whether hyperinflation is hitting the US or not, we need to understand what is inflation and hyperinflation. Inflation. Inflation is the rate at which the value of the currency in a country falls, and at the same time, the prices for goods and services rise. In economics, we can say inflation is the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. When a currency loses its value, it is able to buy fewer goods and services. This price increase affects the cost of living of the people living in the country, and results in the deceleration of economic growth. Hyperinflation. Now that you have understood what inflation is, it would be easier for you to grasp the concept of hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is a rapid, excessive, and out-of-control price increase in the economy. This means that hyperinflation is inflation, but at an excessive rate, measuring approximately 50% per month. Harvard University economics professor Ken Rogoff shared his thoughts on hyperinflation as he said, "It's pretty basic. Usually, governments desperate for money start printing currency, lots and lots of currency, and go out buying things. Hyperinflation can completely collapse an economy. It is to be noted that the chances of hyperinflation in an economically developed country are rare. However, history has shown that it does occur. Hyperinflation has occurred numerous times in history in countries such as Germany, Hungary, Russia, and China. Luckily, hyperinflation has not hit the United States yet, but there are chances that the bad days are not so far. United States inflation rate. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the United States Consumer Price Index is less than 2% per year. This CPI is an index of prices for selected goods and services. While the CPI is ideal and doesn't really pose a threat, will it stay the same? Let's find out. Causes of hyperinflation. Before we move on to discuss the USA, let's discuss the causes of hyperinflation and then deduce whether the USA is on the verge of hyperinflation or not. Hyperinflation has two causes, one being an increase in the money supply and the other is demand pull inflation. 1. Increase in the money supply. An increase in the money supply happens when a country's government begins to print money to pay for its spending. This increases the money supply and so prices rise. 2. Demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation occurs when a flow in demand outdoes supply, sending prices higher. This happens due to increased consumer spending due to the growing economy, increase in exports, and governmental spending. The two causes often occur at the same time. Governments usually start printing more money instead of controlling the supply to halt inflation. When there's too much currency splashing, the prices are bound to rise. Once the public knows what is happening in the country, they become increasingly worried about the future and suspect that inflation will continue to increase prices. The public starts buying more now to avoid paying higher prices later. This excessive demand aggravates inflation. The toilet paper shortage in the USA. Let's take an example of the pandemic. In the year 2020, when the coronavirus hit the world, people were terrorized. They knew the country was hit by a pandemic, which is not going anytime soon. So people rushed into the supermarkets and took all the toilet papers they could. The supply chain wasn't ready to meet this level of panic buying, and this led to toilet paper storage in the United States amid pandemic. Ali Hassan, the co-founder of Throughput, expressed his views on the situation as he said, "Even if we could source raw materials faster, we can't necessarily exceed the maximum throughput of the country's toilet paper manufacturing capacity. When no more can be done on the production side, we must convince the customer that excessive purchase of toilet paper is statistically unnecessary. We also must assure these customers of what the lead time will be in 99.999% of the time in the case there is a toilet paper outage." Abe Ashkenazi, CEO of the Association for Supply Chain Management, also shared his thoughts on the situation as he commented, Supply chain professionals are prepared for almost any circumstances and are trained to deal with demand shocks in the market while continuing to accommodate and mitigate supply chain disruption. This includes the artificial demand we're seeing today in the case of toilet paper and food. The current issue is actually not related to utilization at all, as that hasn't changed or increased. There are no more mouths to feed or bottoms to wipe than there were last month. This is more a reflection of irrational buying and consumer panic. As you can see, public fear can actually cause hyperinflation even when it is not supposed to happen. Prediction by Wall Street Fund Manager Paul Tudor Jones, founder of Tudor Investment Corporation, has predicted the rise and fall of currencies in the United States, and now he states that the USA will experience hyperinflation. The Bank of America investment report showed how the USA could be hit with hyperinflation due to the continual printing of money from central banks. During the pandemic, the consumers couldn't spend their money due to the lockdowns, and there was an economic shock. There was a 30% drop in the economic output of the country last year. In order to keep the economy in check, the Federal Reserve began a round of quantitative easing. Since March 2021, the Federal Reserve has added approximately $4 trillion to its balance sheet. The USA printed more dollars in 1 month than it did in the country's first 200 years. Jones suspects that this continual printing of money is a threat to the US economy and will lead to hyperinflation soon. How the USA manages to prevent hyperinflation. While we might argue that the USA will face hyperinflation soon, the country is not sitting and eating popcorn. It has formulated its plan to prevent it. Hyperinflation will occur in the USA as consumer price index rises. The Federal Reserve in the USA prevents hyperinflation in the country with monetary policy. The Federal Reserve's job is to control inflation while avoiding recession. This is done by tightening or relaxing the money supply, which is the amount of money endorsed into the market. The loosening of money increases the risk of inflation, while the tightening of the money supply reduces the risk of inflation. The Federal Reserve has a target of 2% inflation rate, and it leaves out the volatile oil and gas prices because they move up and down depending upon commodities trading. The CPI also removes the food prices from the inflation rate. Coming back to the Federal Reserve. So when inflation exceeds the 2% mark, the Fed raises the Fed funds rate. It will use its other monetary policy tools to tighten the money supply and lower prices again. So this is how the USA works normally, but it is to be noted that pandemic has significantly changed everything and the tables have turned. The USA might go through hyperinflation, or it might be able to dodge it with its monetary policy. Time will decide what is going to happen in the country. Prepare yourself. Hyperinflation might or might not hit the US. However, you must be prepared for anything to happen. Be prepared to have assets well diversified and balanced along with US stock and bonds, international stock and bonds, gold and other hard assets, and real estate. Also, polish your skills because they might come in handy when trading. It is time to draw the curtains now. What do you guys think about this situation? Is hyperinflation hitting the United States or not? I would love to read your take on this. Make sure to type your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more economy-related videos and turn on the notifications so you never miss out on any video. I will be back again with another interesting topic soon. Until next time, take care and stay tuned.